Welcome to the Ball Brad Show. It is Thursday, June 13th, and Joe Biden. Good old Joey, the geriatric, the puppet, the child sniffer. This is my favorite part of the show. The guy that hits a golf ball backwards, falls up a flight of stairs, looks for dead people in the crowd, is conversing with dead people, looks not only for dead people in the crowd, but takes photos with people at events that were never there in the first place. So he's seeing dead people, he's conversing with dead people, he's actively doing ghost investigations and looking for people at speaking engagements, and then taking photos with these ghosts. 4 years now, I can't wrap my head around it. This dude falls off his bicycle standing stationary, trips over sandbag at a graduation ceremony and can't get himself back up, yet the whole media apparatus is telling us this guy's sharp, this guy's physically fit, this guy could run a marathon at any time against anybody and win. Folks, this dude fights with this teleprompter every single day, and loses. It's the most insane statistic in all of politics that Joe Biden's teleprompter is undefeated and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about how Joe Biden gets his butt kicked by the teleprompter each and every day. Patriots, it's great being back with you on this fine Thursday morning. And boy, oh boy, do we have another show for y'all today. There's a lot of cover-up. There's endless lies, epic failures of the Biden administration. And what's even more astonishing is close to 40% of Americans are going to come out and vote for Joey. Now, what you're seeing in the polls is Americans leading by big numbers. But here's the thing. Just the other day, there was a special election in Ohio. And when we should have won by 25, 30 points, just total landslide victory, we only came out with about 10. And so please know that on those polls, it could swing in any direction. Like we saw in 2016, all the polls showed, oh, Hillary's winning. Hillary's crushing it. No, she's not. And she didn't, because Donald Trump won that election. So polls can only get you so far. Yes, we use the data because there's a margin of error and there's a level of confidence with all of it. But please know that when people are chanting red wave, doesn't necessarily mean there is a red wave. Now, as we always do at the beginning of the show, yeah, we salute you, Patriots. You're in the live chat. I see you, Miriam, Mr. U2 5000, and our boy Pat. Well, there's a lot more of you, and we always lead the show off with a little bit of Joe Biden gaffes. And I don't know how I missed this one. I think this one's old because Nancy Pelosi's up there and Chuck Schumer came out of his mental institution to be here and give a speech. But here he is going to shake hands starting off with Joe Biden. And he's going to go through the list. And tell me what you notice about Joey.
Now our great speaker, our partner who...
Joe was looking for another handshake. Joe, he already shook your hand. Did you see? So confused. 3 seconds and he already lost. He's like a goldfish. He already lost his memory. Look at this. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Look, he's already looking for it. 3 seconds. The dude.
Now our great speaker, our partner who all of these bills we've...
He's so far gone. He's so far gone. So he has no idea where he's going at these events. He doesn't remember that he's shaking people's hands. This is not the first time we've seen something like this. At the G7 summit, when he first became president, you had Boris Johnson kind of going through the table and announcing everybody's names and kind of introducing who they are, blah, blah, blah. And he gets done with it. And then Joe Biden goes, well, what about, I think it was like South Africa or something, like, oh, what about them? And the whole table, the whole place started erupting in laughter. And Joe's like confused. He's like looking around going, what's so funny? And then he's like, okay, well, I should laugh too then. And everybody is laughing at him. And Boris Johnson goes, well, I already introduced the guy. I forgot. Joe Biden is not with us. And the reason why I always lead with this is because the media, as we saw in a few episodes ago, is really pushing that this guy's sharp. From the White House press secretary to spokespeople doing their media rounds now, to Joe Scarborough now flipping the script and saying everything you're seeing about Joe Biden is really Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump fights with the teleprompter. Donald Trump loses his train of thought. Donald Trump forgets that he shook hands with somebody 3 seconds ago. Donald Trump trips up a flight of stairs. Donald Trump hits a golf ball backwards. Like all these things that Joe Biden is doing, they're attributing to Donald Trump. So we're going to have our movement here and lead off with Joe Biden and all his gaffes that he's either done in the past or currently. So does Crooked Joe have any idea where he's at? What you're going to see here is Joe Biden just aimlessly walks off somewhere. Kind of like we saw the other day when he's giving a speech and he just walked off stage, not knowing where to go. And the camera guy's like looking for him. He's like, where the fuck did Joe go? So here's Joe. Folks, the Secret Service and his team in detail sit down with this guy. It's not like, hey man, you're just going to walk out there. Good luck. No. They detail every step of this guy and no clue what he's doing. Check this out. Here he goes. Here he goes. Just off. Like setting a dog loose. Watch the guy on the left. Hey, where you going? This way. Oh, okay. Not a freaking damn clue. Oh, there he goes. Puts his arm on his back for a little bit of leverage. Not a damn clue what the hell is going on. And you guys, he has to be chauffeured around everywhere. If it's not some spokesperson from somebody's other government, if it's not Jill Biden or somebody else, the Secret Service, you know, he's going to get lost. He's just going to roam free. It's happened. We talked about it yesterday when he was doing a foreign trip, I think it was, and he was at like some island or something, and he wandered off. Nobody could find him. The only reason we got footage of this was a tourist was just eating breakfast or lunch and found the guy wandering around in the restaurant. It's an old clip. I gotta pull it up. I gotta pull it up for you guys at some point. And then Jill Biden comes out of the woodwork going, holy shit, Joe, where you been? And he's like, huh? Joe escaped. So here he is with the Italian prime minister and just shuffling his way. You let me know if this guy looks fit, folks. You let me know if this guy looks like he's all there. God, isn't he so vibrant? He's so freaking youthful. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah. So, he's going to shake her hand. Does he remember? Now, what I noticed here is when he's walking up, he's like, who the hell are you? You smell nice. So he shuffles up to her, and and people have been making fun of him for this. I don't know who did this, but I found this for you guys. We got to kick the morning off right. I found this for you guys. You're absolutely going to love it. They're making fun of Joe Biden. No, that's not really Joe. I know it looks like him, doesn't it? Some random dude. Check this out.
Buonasera, Presidente Biden. Presidente. Good evening, Mr. President Biden. President. Here we are, President Biden. Qui.
Here?
Yes. Good evening. Buonasera. Yes. Eh?
I said to the President of Israel,
Sì.
Mikhail Gorbachev.
No, non è Gorbachev, il Presidente dell'Israele, no.
Sorry, Michael Jordan.
No.
When he went to the moon.
Quando è andato sulla luna.
The sad thing is, look, this is an Italian comedy show that's featuring Joe Biden. Now, it seems so satirical, but it's pretty spot on. Am I not right? For the patrons in the live chat, am I not right that that's pretty spot on who the hell Joe is? Oh, God. Well, okay, so enough with the Joe Biden gas. We'll be here all day if we continue with that. What they're doing is they're going to continue to push endless lies to you. This has been going on since the administration started. Since week 1, they've been sitting here peddling a bunch of lies. Joe Biden did this. Joe Biden did that. Oh, look how great the economy's doing. He created 13 million new jobs. Look at our foreign policy. It's awesome. We've never had better relations with our allies. The relationships between Republicans and Democrats has never been more unified, blah, blah, blah. So the economy has been a hot button issue since Joe Biden's taken office because gas prices went through the roof. He decided to wake up one day and just, pump the economy full of trillions of dollars and expected no long-term ramifications whatsoever with doing such a stupid and idiotic thing. I'm not saying people shouldn't have gotten money, but the way that they did it was idiotic. So when you get that, when you pump the economy full of money, what do you get, patriots? What do you get when you just throw trillions of dollars out there? And by the way, there's a lot of fraud that took place in that too. You get inflation. And so what they've been doing is saying, well, we're just in a transition phase. Y'all remember that? This is going back years. This is going back when Jen Psaki was in office. Well, we're just in a transition phase. And the transition message went on for so long that they've gone through multiple people in administration in the White House that have been peddling the same thing. We're 4 years in. Thank you, not Alfredo Fire memes. I see all you babies in the live chat. You sweet patriot babies. They have so many people that have come into the White House and have peddled this same thing that we've been in inflation for the longest period of the 1980s, 38 straight months. Now, here it is. Biden insisted inflation would be transitory and temporary. Look at this. Look at this cut.
I doubt that we're going to see an inflationary cycle.
It will have a temporary or transitory impact.
The faster than expected increase in some of those prices is actually a good sign.
The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great,
This is something that will settle down.
Transitory.
Most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary. It's highly unlikely that's going to be long-term inflation that's going to get out of hand. I don't know anybody who's worried about inflation.
Over the last couple of months.
We're still in 2021, you guys. We're still in 2021.
We actually saw it trended downward.
President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, enthusiastically retweeted an economist who had said in part most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, et cetera, are high-class problems.
Well, the number one thing that the president can do is help get COVID under control. That we know is the root cause of inflation.
President Biden this afternoon saying he thinks we're at the peak of the crisis right now and that lower prices are on the way.
The inflation has everything to do with the supply chain. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin.
If you want to get rid of inflation, the only way to do it is to undo a lot of the Trump tax cuts.
Our inflation rates are lower than other nations in the world.
The inflation we're seeing is due to the pandemic.
When inflation hit a new high last week, the administration of President Biden called the numbers out of date.
I just want to say a number. 0. Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation.
When I hear people talk about inflation, as I heard him there, we have to change that subject. Inflation is a global phenomenon.
Gotcha. Thanks, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. You guys, endless lies. That's the theme of today's show. How long is the Democrat Party going to get away with this? How long is it going to take Democrats to wake up with all these montages and compilations that we've compiled here, whether it's the RNC research or other avenues, other movements out there compiling this footage to show them that they're being manipulated, they're being gaslit, they're being lied to? 4 years of transition? Literally, they're still using COVID as an excuse of like, well, COVID was around. Bro, it's like 4 years ago. 4 years ago. I'm not saying there isn't some outgrowths or some long-term problems that COVID is going to cause and has caused. That's not what I'm saying. But when you sit there and keep lying like this, that we're in a transition phase, which we called out 2 years ago here on the show. Damn, you're right. We got the receipts to prove it. It's called our video catalog. That you're just lying. You're absolutely lying. Oh, well, it's Putin's fault. You see that? Do you notice the dude said 0% inflation? Folks, we're at like 3.3 right now. And he says it's down. Oh, inflation's down. Bro, it's 1.4% when you came in office. Not according to Joe, though. Not according to Joe. Things are so bad with the economy, you guys. Mortgage rates are going through the roof. So they remain very high, and that is not a good sign. That is not a good sign whatsoever. And some are saying Biden has destroyed the American dream. This is coming from CNN.
I think one of the other issues that we have to pay attention to is the cost of borrowing, right? Because if you want to go and buy a home right now, or you want to sell the home you have to buy a new one, the problem is that mortgage rates are very high. 7%, some context, that's slightly higher than where things were at this point last year, twice as high as the rate was 3 years ago. I think one of the
Unbelievable. You guys, there's this story that's circulating with inflation has pushed homeowners insurance rates to 11% this year alone. So, gas prices, 55% increase since Joe Biden's been in office. Grocery bills, another 50%. 25% increase here, 50% increase here, 66% increase here. Everything's fine. They're lying. And we're going to do a movement and continue to call this out until the election in the hopes that maybe a liberal finds their way in here or a Democrat finds their way in here. We would love for you to vote for Donald Trump in 2024 here. Our boy, Mr. 45, should be Mr. 46, but hell, we're going to hope for him to be Mr. 47. Folks, people can't do this for another 4 years. Now, I'm not trying to be an alarmist, man. But how can people continue this? Real wages are down. The cost of everything is going up, and they're still going to push this BS upon all of you going, well, things are looking good. Inflation's going down. While Joe Biden sit there shaking the freaking dead people's hands. So here's inflation in which homeowners insurance rates 11%. Did anybody else just fall over in their chair when they heard that number?
Insurance agent Joy Sharp of North Carolina knows a thing or two about homeowners insurance. And still, she was stunned when she got her annual bill.
My policy was $1,800 and it renewed at $6,000.
What did you think when you saw that number?
I kind of thought it was a joke. I kind of thought, okay, this is crazy.
Yeah, somebody put in an extra zero. Somebody screwed up. Holy crap.
Rates went up, but the coverage on my home did not increase very much.
Sharp is not alone. Inflation has pushed homeowners insurance rates up 11% in 2023 alone. Sharp says her clients are feeling the squeeze too.
They're really having a hard time making these payments.
The average insurance policy nationwide on a home with $300,000 in coverage is $2,230 a year or $185 a month, depending on where you live. If rates were to go up another 11% this year, that would mean an extra $245 each year or $20 a month. Insurance agent
What you got to realize is so much has gone bad that the Biden administration just has to throw blanket statements out there. Everything's fine. We're in a transition phase. It's going to work itself out. Kamala Harris was just on camera, 48 hours ago, maybe 72 hours ago, saying that, oh, well, we just need another 4 years to figure it out. That's not a joke. I sound like Joe Biden. No kidding. They are sitting here manipulating you, lying to you, which is really an astonishing thing because sometimes the media apparatus can get away with it because Americans aren't necessarily feeling it. Everybody's feeling this. Insurance rates are going up. Gas prices are going up. Energy prices are going up. Your interest rates because the Federal Reserve are all going up. Like everything is being felt by the American taxpayer. And they have the balls to sit there. And again, oh, it's a transition phase. Oh, it's Putin's fault. It's not the Democrat Party's fault. I mean, we could compare it, right? I mean, 4 years ago isn't that long ago in terms of what we were all feeling. Yeah, there was COVID, but before there was COVID, there was a year and a half, 2 years of Donald Trump's administration doing phenomenal work, both foreign, abroad, domestically, locally. I mean, everything was going well, and the Democrat Party is going to sit there and peddle all this stuff. Does that not piss you guys off? It drives me up a wall. And there's people that believe this. That is the most astonishing thing, that people could sit there And as they're actively getting reamed from behind, they're saying, nah, it's not happening. Joe Biden's great. That's why we play those clips 4 more years. 4 more years they want this. I'm telling you, we can't do 4 more years. And they're lying. So in just one moment, we're going to talk about how Jerome Powell literally came out and said the Biden administration is overstating jobs. They're lying. Endless lies is today's episode theme. Like, that's almost an exact word. Talks about overstating jobs. It's truly remarkable, folks. Before we jump into it, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. We do have a book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. We don't have our own sponsor, so we got to sponsor ourselves here if we had one. But check us out. Would absolutely love your support. Folks, Jerome Powell, we got videotape of it, admits Biden admin is overstating jobs. I created 13 million jobs since I've been president. No, you haven't. Every first Friday of this year, we have spent hours deconstructing the glaring propaganda peddled by the Biden's Labor Department, meant to show just one thing: how strong the economy is under the current administration, and exposing just how ugly the underlying labor data truly is. Last Friday's non-farm payrolls was the most recent case in point for those who didn't read our extended analysis titled Inside the Most Ridiculous Jobs Report in Years, which dissected the laughable claim that the U.S. had added 272,000 payrolls. Here's what we found. While the establishment survey did indeed report that amount of jobs were added, this number also included multiple holders. Stripping those out, we get to the actual number of employed workers plunged by 408,000. Look at that graph right here. Let's see if we get that bigger. Look at this graph, you guys. They're manipulating you. They just got done saying in green that you had 272,000 jobs. But look at that plummet of 408,000. They're doing nothing but lying. And they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it. The economy's fine. It's reasonable. Oh, everything's reasonable. We're in a transitionary phase. Well, she comes out and the Treasury Secretary claims, well, the national debt's reasonable too. This is the same lady. We're not in a recession. I saw Miriam throw that up when they redefined the word recession, just conveniently. For decades, both parties have opted to kick the can down the road indefinitely when it comes to the national debt problem. $35 trillion in debt, but let's send everybody money. You know, we kind of sit there and formulate these things of, well, it's somebody else's money. No, that's your money. That's all of our money that's just being sent to everybody else on loan. It's on loan. So she sits there and infamously described Biden inflation as transition. I told you, it's a theme, you guys. They're manipulating everybody. It's just a transition is out of some even more questionable economic arguments. According to CNBC, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said the swelling national debt is manageable. It's fine. It's not a big deal. As long as it stays around what is a relatively as long as it's relative to the rest of the economy. No. If the debt is stabilized relative to the size of the economy, we're in a reasonable place. Oh, good. Let's do a poll. Everybody get involved here. We've got a lot of patriots in the live chat. Folks, do you feel, hand to God, do you feel $35 trillion, which is an unfathomable number? Like, I actually can't comprehend it in my mind. Do you think that's reasonable? Do you think sitting there and owing foreign countries is reasonable? Do you think being in crippling debt where you actually don't even have enough money, you're in a deficit year after year, how do you pay your bills? Well, you print more money, and when you print more money, what happens? More inflation. Is $35 trillion reasonable? The interest alone, you guys, on our national debt exceeds $600 billion. Just in interest. That's money just being thrown out the window. And when you're paying $600 billion of interest, do you think it's a good idea to sit there and take out more money and send $10 billion to the Iranians? There you go. Miriam said, F no. Damn right, Miriam. God bless you. No. $35 freaking trillion. But don't worry, it's just transitionary phase, folks. You're going to be fine. Nothing to see here. No worries for your children. There you go. Jeff B says, absolutely not. We need to start paying down our debt. You're damn right, fellow patriot. Bear post, hell no. Look at that, a lot of hell no's, F no. Couldn't agree with you more, because we got our heads on straight here. Yeah, I'll get it. You know what I mean? But like I said, 40% of the country wants more of this. 40% of the country wants to be lied to. Now, with this job growth that they wanted to lie about consistently, 13 million new jobs. Just 1/4 of job growth went to natural-born Americans since 2019. Now, you might be wondering, well, where'd the rest of the jobs go then, Brad? Natural-born Americans? Well, who else is involved in that? Well, again, the vast majority of gains goes towards both legal and what? Illegal immigrants. Oh, but we're being gaslit again. I was told by the Biden administration, the Democrat Party, again, theme, endless lies here. How long are they going to get away with it? That illegal immigrants weren't getting jobs. I was also told illegal immigrants weren't voting. I was told illegal immigrants couldn't get IDs. I'm being told all these things by the Democrat Party because they're liars. They are lying. We always bring the receipts here on the show, and we got another one here. The CIS report provides context to what the New York Times has called a historically strong job market. You notice everything's historically strong, never happened before, it's life-changing, everything's positive, but we're in a transition phase. If everything is so great, why are we in a transition phase? If everything's so just fine and dandy, why are we paying $600 billion in interest on our loans, our debt? Why is everything so expensive, Joe? If everything's fine, why is everything so wrong? We're not strong. We're hurting right now, and it's all smoke. And the Biden administration, the Democrat Party, in conjunction with the mainstream media, wants you to believe that everything is strong, and it's not. It's not. It is true that the country has added millions of jobs since the height of COVID. Whoa! Stop traffic, you guys. Whoa! Since the height of COVID, when the whole globe, the planet that we live on, was shut down, and you're going to brag, well, things have gotten better since COVID. How could they not? How could they not get better? You shut everything down. It's like some dude that couldn't pay his bills finally goes out there and gets a job going, well, everything was better since the height of him not being able to pay his bills. Yeah, because he didn't have a job. He went and worked. What is stupid? Am I crazy here? Am I crazy to say that using the height of COVID when everything was shut down is probably a terrible metric to use? One, it's never really happened. You have the Spanish flu, but nothing on this scale has really ever happened. And they're going to use it as a metric. Well, since COVID, since everything was on fire and kind of everybody was stuck at home and couldn't go to their religious services and go to work and go to restaurants, we'll use that as a standard. Holy crap. However, most of the employment growth has gone to immigrants, both legal and illegal. I'm all for legal immigrants getting jobs, okay? They came here for the American dream. They did it right. That's what America's all about. My father was a legal immigrant, but illegal. Interesting. The CIS report goes to a point where the recent study from the Bureau of Labor Statistics found that 971,000 more natural-born Americans were employed. That's great. But the number of employed immigrants has, however, increased 3.2 million. That's a big disparity. Now, here's the thing. I tried to sit there because all of us probably have this question going, well, how many of that 3.2 is legal versus illegal? Here's the thing. They don't tell us. They do not tell us in the report what's the differential between the two. And I did some digging, you guys. I could not find it for the life of me. I'm not saying it's out there. If some of you know, email me, thebaldbradshow@gmail.com. Let me know, because I don't know how many of that is. I would imagine most of them are legal. But who knows, because we're being manipulated left and right here. I don't know what the hell's truth anymore coming from this administration, the Department of Labor Statistics, and basically any sort of government agency out there. After what they did in 2016, 2020, they lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. They lied about Joe Biden's classified documents. They lying about this and that. It's all freaking lies. And again, I know I'm repeating myself. It's all endless lies from this administration, the Democrat Party. So speaking of illegal immigrants, finally people seem to be waking up, and this is not a joke. This is not satire. Majority of voters are supporting deporting not some, keyword is all illegal immigrants. This one's shocking. And I'll tell you why it's shocking. Because 4 years ago, remember there was this great man called Donald Trump in office that was making America great again. We're going to sit there. We're going to win so big. You're going to be tired of winning. Joe Biden, crooked Joe. Goddamn, Joe, you're so crooked. You're child sniffing Joe Biden. We're going to make America great again. Folks, they sat there and called him a racist, right? A xenophobe, a bigot for wanting to protect our borders, which is what he took an oath of office to do, by the way. The dude put a hand on a Bible and he sat there and took an oath to like the supreme being, our Lord, our God, and to the American people. And so because he wants to uphold that, he's a racist all of a sudden. Do you guys remember that? Again, I'm telling you, Democrats sit there and just are like a reed in the wind. They'll just go like this all the time. 4 years ago, it was deemed racist, right? To want to protect the borders. 4 years later, well, everybody's kind of for it all of a sudden. Not a big deal. It's no longer racist. Joe Biden locked up people in cages. We covered this. Locked so many people up in these cages when he was first president that they exceeded the capacity of it. I labeled it as like an analogy of stuffing sardines into a can. That's what it looked like in these cages. They exceeded the capacity and they didn't know what to do with them, so they just shipped them all over the country. They sent them to arenas was early on. They were flying them into the dark of the night, landing on tar mats, which we covered with security body cam footage of police officers going, what the hell is this plane doing here? We don't even, you're not even acknowledged to be here, but you're under the cover of the dark of the night, meaning they would park the planes where there's no lights. But it was racist then. All of a sudden, everybody's for it. It's not racist anymore, I guess, you guys. It's amazing. So amid a flood of border crossings under the Biden administration, a majority of voters support a federal program to deport all illegal aliens residing in the United States. So if this keeps up, Donald Trump quite possibly could have a lot of support for his movement of deporting 20 to 25 illegal immigrants. Now, remember, as Republicans, we got a lot of independents that watch this show as well, which really surprised me. We love having you guys here. This might not go with the independent ideology, but for Republicans and conservatives, we don't want to expand government. We don't want to make government bigger. And so with that being said, you're going to have to expand the executive branch to pull off a maneuver, an operation like this, because it's never happened. 25 million people is a lot. I mean, you're going to have to go door to door. And that's why Donald Trump wants to utilize local law enforcement and the localities to do that. He's going to have to expand ICE. He's going to have to expand Border Patrol, which I'm not against. But he's also bigly going to have to use the United States military to get this operation done. A similar size majority would be in favor of deploying local law enforcement. Again, this is good news, because if he can get the support of Americans, hopefully he can get support of Congress, as long as Republicans hold the chambers, the House, and the Senate. Try to apprehend illegal immigrants. About under half of registered voters believe it would be a good idea to erect large government detention centers to process illegal immigrants for potential deportation. This surprised me. I woke up to a nice cup of coffee reading this, so I didn't even have this plugged in last night when I was trying to prepare for the show. This is very good news, you guys. Former President Trump has campaigned on the promising of expelling large numbers of illegal immigrants. Like I said, never happened before, but we will see. I wanted to bring that to your attention that as of right now, he has favor of the public, which is good. Now, if you recall, there was a story a while back. I always like to show you updates and keep you informed on prior stuff, because people just forget and the media wants to cover it up. So we got to do some digging here to make sure that we informed the Bald Brad Army of stuff that we covered in the past. Now, do y'all remember this image here? Do you remember how these illegal immigrants stormed the border and we covered it? They sat there and pushed over our law enforcement officials, our Border Patrol, and they stormed the border. Y'all remember that? We covered the video clip. Well, a county judge has once again dismissed charges against a group of illegal immigrants accused of rioting at the U.S.-Mexico border. El Paso County Judge Ruben Morales dismissed 59 cases against illegal immigrants accused of participating in a border riot in April. So all of a sudden they got some sort of constitutional right to riot, I guess. I don't know. Ruling that his court has no jurisdiction over the matter. Oh, okay. Well, we know the feds aren't going to do anything about it, right? We know on the federal level, they're not going to jack anything. Joe Biden runs the show. Joe Biden, and I was thinking about this. I'm going to go on a kind of a little rant here. Remember how Joe Biden didn't want to run for president and the Democrat Party had to really push him to do this? This is kind of a conspiracy theory out there. What if he knew that he laundered so much money allegedly, that there was so much corruption, that China, Romania, Ukraine had so much dirt on him that he didn't want to run because he didn't want it to come out. And I say that because if you notice, China, Russia, and Romania have been really quiet on Joe Biden, Hunter Biden. Have you guys noticed that? Very, very quiet. For people that don't like us, when it comes to Joe, their mouth is really tight-lipped. Furthermore, if there was no dirt on Joe, why do we have all these receipts of money being funneled from these other countries? Again, endless lies. But don't worry, we're just in a transitory phase, folks. We're just in a transition. No big deal. Nothing to see here. Donald Trump doesn't pay a parking ticket on time, grand jury. Joe Biden has all this stuff going on, doesn't want to become president, probably because of this, and all of a sudden, we don't hear about it. Interesting. We'll get to that in one moment. So this is happening. Do you guys think that they should have been? I mean, the fact that nothing even happened, the fact that they pulled off a riot while being illegal and getting away with it, that is astonishing. Like, multiple laws broken. Assaulting a federal officer, probably a big deal. Coming into the country illegally, big deal. Rioting, big deal. That's fine. Come on in. Remember, these people that did this, they went sent back home. They were let into the country. We covered it. And you want to know again, endless lies. Endless lies. Does anybody in the show, we got longtime viewers here, does anybody remember what Karine Jean-Pierre said regarding these people? That they weren't coming in. Correct. That they weren't coming into the country. Theme, folks, endless lies. Remember that. Now, we were told that these people weren't coming in. We were told that they were being just apprehended and seeking asylum, and that they were just going to be held in their pods early on. And then once we started getting footage of these people being driven into the interior of the country, flown into the country, busted into the country, not by Republicans at this point in time, but by the Democrat Party and the Biden administration working with these NGOs, which we covered about 2 weeks ago, then Greg Abbott needed to do something, so he started busting them, yes. But you have right here, the Biden released 72% of migrants who encountered San Diego sector despite supposed crackdown. So we already know, according to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, that over 85% of illegal immigrants have been let loose into the interior of the country while Joe Biden's been in office. All the while, they spent 3+ years telling us that wasn't happening. They told us that the border was secure. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who, in my opinion, I think should be impeached, removed from his job and his position in conjunction with Joe Biden for the handling of the border, told Jim Jordan of Congress on tape that the border was secure, it was not open. All the while, you're having over 3 million people come in illegally through the border a year that we just knew about. Folks, they said 10 million while Joe Biden's been in office. Do you understand that it could be way more than that? We don't know. We don't know anything about these people, which we'll get to some tape in just one moment, of the director saying so. So the administration has reportedly released 72% of migrants who encountered the country unlawfully through the San Diego border sector, despite the administration's crackdown on the border. Now, what is this crackdown? Remember how all of a sudden, when he said he couldn't use executive authority, well, all of a sudden he used executive authority to sit there and crack down on the border, saying, hey, if there exceeds a certain amount of asylum seekers that have been apprehended at these ports of entry, key words, ports of entry, well, we'll shut down those ports of entry so they can't get through anymore. So what are they going to do? They're just going to go through everybody else. Yeah, but they've been vetted. Exactly, Pat. They've been vetted. Oh, yeah. Well said, brother. So now they're just finding other avenues. Well, get this. More than 4,900 migrants have been released out of more than 6,800 migrant border encounters at the Southern California border sector. So meaning, basically, everything he said is going to fix it doesn't fix it. It was all smoke. It was lies. It was manipulation. It was gaslighting. And I know you guys know this, but like I said, 40% of the country either doesn't care, doesn't know, or just completely just lying to themselves while the Biden administration lies to them too. I mean, I'm all for like people being biased and everything. Look, we're biased here, right? You guys see the hat. You know, we got the eagle as our logo with the Second Amendment protecting the First Amendment. That's the explanation of the logo. By the way, damn good logo, right? I made that myself. I'm not an artiste, but I love our logo, man. Where you got the Second Amendment gun, with the microphone, protected the First Amendment, and the eagle's facing the microphone because right now we're in a time of peace. You got to use your First Amendment rights before you flip the eagle over. You guys know the wartime symbology. So it's one of the biggest illegal crossing areas currently because of Greg Abbott's handling of the border down there in Texas. So they're having to find other ways to get in. Of course, they're going to come through back California because they're all for it. Well, with this, as we've covered, there's terrorists here, right? This was big news, in my opinion, but not according to the mainstream media. I really felt like the mainstream media wasn't pushing this. This is huge. The fact that they found terrorists, it wasn't like they were all clumped in the same room, right? Eating, food together. They were spread out across the country. So Senator Ted Cruz responded to these 8 suspected ISIS terrorists. Can you imagine if this news came out, I don't know, like a month or two, maybe even a few years after 9/11? People would be up in arms about it. Democrats are like, oh, not a big deal. Not a big deal. No, they have jobs. Oh, well, hey, these are Democrats, by the way. I know some veterans that are down there the street in a hotel. Why don't you kick them out and put these terrorists up? Yeah, let's kick out 8 veterans and let's put up these 8 suspected ISIS terrorists. Now, it's a little much, don't get me wrong, being facetious, but they were removing veterans from hotel rooms and putting in illegal immigrants. So Ted Cruz responded to this story, and I wanted to give it a little bit of a spotlight here because I feel like I almost owe something to Ted Cruz. And maybe that's not the thing I should be saying, but, I had such a nasty taste in my mouth about Ted Cruz in 2016. And after I got to sit down, and I should have done this in 2016, this is my fault. I should have given the guy more of a chance and opportunity and had a more of an open heart towards Ted Cruz in 2016. Because after what I've learned that he's done for this country on a legality level, he's kept in a lot of our rights more than I can count and has sat there and basically spoke on behalf of the American people for keeping their rights in place while the Democrat Party wanted to sit there and lie to all of us about it. So if you haven't read his books, you guys, I highly recommend you read Ted Cruz's books. There's a great book that highlights this called One Vote Away. Phenomenal read and quick read. So here's Ted Cruz talking about the freaking terrorists in the country.
Story is a big damn deal. We have 8 suspected terrorists with ISIS-K who've been arrested. They've been arrested in Los Angeles, in New York, and in Philadelphia. Now, they came into this country illegally at our southern border. The Biden administration apprehended them, and then they let them go. They let terrorists go, and I've been saying for a long time, we are at a greater risk of a major terrorist attack in the United States right now than we have been any time since September 11th. And
remember, this is Ted Cruz. You think this guy has a little bit of behind closed doors information more than we do? Mind you, it's not just him saying this. FBI Director Christopher Wray has said the exact same thing. I think it was Lindsey Graham. There's other senators. It might have been Chuck Grassley as well. Have come out and said, look, we were all around in 9/11. We were all working in Congress or local law enforcement or federal agencies. And yeah, there was red flags. Understand that our agencies, CIA, FBI, Congress, everybody is saying there's been nothing like this in terms of red flags. Like the alarm bells, the sirens, everything's going off. And Joe Biden's like, yeah, keep allowing them to pour in. If that's not treason, I don't know what is. If Joe Biden's not enabling people that want to sit there and hurt Americans, I honestly, God, I don't know what else to say to these Democrats that haven't woken up.
And let's go. So the first outlet to break this story was the New York Post. And the New York Post announced that these people had been arrested, and they were arrested in a coordinated sting operation that occurred in 3 cities, Los Angeles, New York, and Philadelphia.
That's pretty far apart. And notice it was a sting operation, meaning they were tracking these people. They knew what was going on. They were aware that they were here. 8 of them. There's hundreds of them in this country at present time that want to harm us.
2 ICE sources confirmed to the Post that they arrested 6 people from Tajikistan over the last week after the FBI contacted the agency to warn them. 2 others who were part of the same group were also arrested after being under surveillance for several months by the multi-agency Joint Terrorism Task Force. Part of the investigation featured a wiretap which revealed one of the now arrested individuals was talking about bombs. And here's a quote. Quote, "Remember the Boston Marathon bombing? I'm afraid something like that might happen again or worse," one of the sources told the Post. The subject, the target who was the subject of the wiretap, was previously released by federal authorities at the southern border with a court date next year. But it is since...
Wow, he got a court date next year. Some people are getting court dates 10 years into the future. Wow.
It's emerged that he has potential ties to ISIS. And by the way, it is worth noting, who is ISIS-K? So ISIS-K is a splinter group, but it is the group that carried out the terror attack that we just saw. The terror attack that happened in the concert hall in Moscow. And that...
Correct, Ted. Correct. And rumor is that there's plots to carry out an event similar to what they did in Moscow here in the United States. And there's video footage of it on Twitter. I don't recommend anybody go source that out because it's horrible watching people get mowed over. But Democrats love this. Listen, I'm not saying they love every component of Joe Biden, but what is good about Joe Biden? I've watched other people's podcasts on the left, right? And they go, well, the Chips and Science Act. Whoa. So you're going to tell me that amidst of all the cons against Joe Biden, that because he started the Chips and Science Act, that's your reason enough to vote for the guy? Like, what the... Amidst of all the lying, the transitions, right? Reorganizing and recategorizing what recession means, your grocery bill, like everything you're paying for has gone up. People are being screwed left and right. And by the way, about to be more screwed because they're removing Trump's tax cuts now. I got a lot of flack years ago for going, yeah, you know, Trump's tax cuts are going to save Americans about 3%. You know, you think that, I'm not saying I know everything, but some things I know in terms of accounting. I'm not a great accountant. I'll never boast about being a great accountant. I'm not a great statistician either. I just teach stats. Like 3% average that Americans are going to save. People are like, no, because it was just Trump. Trump did it. It had to be bad. No, Joe Biden's the asshole. Joe Biden wants to remove our tax cuts. And so now you're going to end up paying more. And this dude has the balls to lie to you and say, well, your tax rates aren't going to go up. But if you remove the cuts, everybody's going to owe more, Joe. Endless lies. Endless lies. And they're going to lie and tell you that you're secure, you're safe, you're fine, nothing to see here. But yet, hey, yeah, we accidentally apprehended 8 terrorists in this country present time. So Border Patrol is speaking out finally about what's going on at the invasion at the border. And they're saying their hands are tied. So somebody at a high level is telling them not to do something. And they said, if I don't allow them to cross, I'm going to lose my job. So this is from CNN. It's not like I'm pulling this from some right-wing outlet. Here we go.
What do you think this executive order, is that going to do anything?
Well, it only took them, what, 3 years and 7 months?
In a rare encounter, we meet a Border Patrol agent eager to vent. He asks us to mask his identity, worried he'll be fired for talking so openly.
Well, his job did take pride, secured the border. We didn't have to babysit.
Does it frustrate you when you hear that, when you hear the narrative, like, why aren't Border Patrol doing anything? And
our hands are tied. If I don't allow them to cross and they call and complain, now I'm in trouble. Now I'm going to lose my job.
He blames the current administration.
What do you think this executive...
Well, who else are you going to blame? Joe Biden doesn't want to take the blame. He's going to blame it on Xi Jinping or some nameless, faceless, shadowy figure, actually quite literally, probably. Again, this is the guy that talks to dead people at summits. This is the guy that's... I thought when he said that he was talking, like conversing with dead people, that he just heard them. And that's why I always end off with, well, he's not just hearing them, he's also seeing dead people. Joe Biden is so old, he's so far gone that he's teetering between like our realm and some other spiritual realm. And then he's going back and forth because he's sitting there seeing different dimensions, according to him, I guess. I don't know. Freaking A. So they're vetting migrants, and Pat commented on this, and other, I think it was Z and some other patriots in the chat commented on this. They're vetting migrants. Well, there's no information on these individuals. And it's not like we're just pulling this out of our, you know what? What do we bring here, patriots? What do we bring? We bring the receipts. We bring the receipts. The acting ICE director is saying this.
that there were background checks done when they came across the border, that they're from Tajikistan, which is a country listed as a country of particular concern in terms of terrorism with the State Department. Is there an issue with our background check system? Again, how did they slip through the cracks like that?
Well, listen, we have individuals that are coming across and they're done, they're done by checks, and CBP, Customs and Border Protection, is the ones who encounter them at the border. It's not us. But it's not that sometimes there's just no information on individuals. I mean, it's quite common where there's just nothing. You don't have anything. It's no criminal convictions. There's no threat information or whatever on these individuals. Or maybe these individuals are from an area that are particularly of concern, but that pops up later when you get information later on. And as soon as we become aware of any information, like in this case, we became aware, we're working collaboratively with FBI, we went out and got them.
Can I just summarize what this guy just said? Well, we don't know anything about these people, and if they're coming from an area of concern, well, we'll figure it out later. Come on in. Yeah, we'll find you. We'll track you down. Oh, you give us some bullshit information on your paperwork? Not a big deal. No wonder there's terrorists. Joe Biden, no, everything's fine. Endless lies, endless manipulation. This is what they're doing, and you're damn right we're going to call it out here, baby. We're a small outlet, but damn, we're going to call it out. So with all this hubbub and the endless lies, what's another lie? Again, Joe Biden's coherent. Joe Biden, he's physically fit, you guys. The guy's, sit there running. He does that weird-ass jog, you know what I mean? That little step that doesn't do anything for him. Well, remember when Joe Biden had this deposition and he just made a complete ass of himself, fumbling through his words? He couldn't remember anything. Like, he couldn't even remember when his own son died, which I'm not making a bit or a gaffe on that. It's just like, that's a terrible thing that you can't even remember something that significant in your life. Like, my father passed away. I know the exact moment. I know the time of his death. I know where it happened. I know the date of it. Like, I like as if it was yesterday. Like, it's a pretty traumatic event for somebody in your family, especially your own son, to pass away. So you don't remember that, Joe? And then Democrats go, well, they're asking him hard questions. Really? Nobody asked this guy hard questions. The media's top question was, hey, Mr. President, what's your favorite ice cream? And even he struggled in that. He had to look at the ice cream to figure out what the hell he was eating. He doesn't know what's going on. And they sit there and go, well, he's sharper than attack, right? We just saw it the other day. His own spokesperson goes, yeah, he's sharp. If he wasn't this sharp, you think he could do more now than 4 or 5 presidents before him? They're saying that this dude in 3.5 years has done more than 4 presidents. The gaslight, the endless lies. So they want the tapes. They want the Robert Hur tapes, and Attorney General Merrick Garland won't give them up because we know why. We know why. They're going to make Joe look like shit. So the GOP-led House passed a resolution on Wednesday to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for withholding subpoenaed recordings from the investigation into President Joe Biden. Now, to be quite frank, nothing really ever comes of this. Could they, in theory, lock the guy up? Yeah, they could, but I don't think they're going to. I think this is more of just like I don't want to say public relations move, but, oh, well, we did something. I mean, look, Republicans haven't had a backbone. Are we right? Ladies and gentlemen, patriots, Republicans haven't had a backbone. Let's be fair here. Most of us are independents or registered Republicans. We got a lot of conservatives in here like myself. But look, Republicans don't have backbone. We can't allow the Department of Justice and executive branch agency to hide information from Congress. Interesting. What do you mean hide information? They don't do that. Oh, come on, Mike. The Democrats don't hide information from the public. The Democrat apparatus doesn't move in conjunction with the mainstream media to hide information from the public. Oh, but they do. Oh, but they do. Called the Hunter Biden laptop. Called the classified documents. Called the Twitter files. All these things they hid from you. What else are they hiding from you? I don't know. Maybe that Joe Biden allegedly funneled and laundered money from foreign adversaries, from our enemies. Maybe that Hunter Biden just might be an unregistered lobbyist, which I did a terrible job explaining that yesterday. Maybe that they're covering up the story. The whole Hunter Biden thing, you guys. No, there's way more to that. Oh, there's way more. I just did a terrible job of explaining it yesterday. If you guys want me to go further in detail, we can in just one moment. I want to make sure I get to this. The fact that he's sitting there, not willing to divulge and give information to Congress, which I think is a bunch of baloney. We all know why he's not doing it. Now, Hunter Biden, regarding his whole spiel being found guilty, which, look, give the guy a fine. I don't think he should be locked up. I know maybe some of you don't want to hear that, but look, it's some paperwork issue, okay? Like, I just because you're a drug addict, I'm so hardcore Second Amendment, I think people should have F-15s like Joe Biden's been talking. They want F-15s. Yeah, give it to them. If they can afford an F-15, give it to them. Why not? I'm talking. I'm okay with people having fully autos. Like I am so pro Second Amendment. Have cannons, have grenades, have bazookas, have it all. I don't care. So press secretary won't say whether President Biden will consider commuting Hunter's sentence. Endless lies. Right here, we have her on tape saying that the White House isn't going to do that. Check this out.
Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Second one, would the president...
Weird, because all of a sudden, you're not willing to rule it out. So that was an old clip, right, that we just showed? This one's from yesterday. Mind you, before what you're seeing here, they had not done a press briefing in 2 weeks. And they canceled the one that was yesterday when the Hunter Biden verdict came out. Or no, 2 days ago. This is one's from yesterday. And notice there's no video. It's audio only. It's on Air Force One. And nobody listens to these. No, I don't even listen to these. And I cover the White House press briefings. So here we go. Biden has previously claimed he wouldn't pardon him. Interesting. But Willie, let's see it.
Said that he has ruled out pardoning his son, but I wondered about a commutation, whether that would be something that would be on the table. A commutation?
So look, as I stated at the top, I don't have anything to say beyond, to your first question, beyond what the president's statement was yesterday. He's been very clear. We've been very clear. He loves his son.
He has said that.
She won't answer the question. Typical stuff. And, it's just, I'm struggling trying to comprehend. Look, if you're not going to vote for Trump, but why would you vote for Biden? Do you hear me out here? Like, I'm not saying if you're a Democrat, Independent, Green Party, hell, even Republicans, some Republicans don't even like Trump. If you don't like Trump, why are you voting for Biden? My inhaler prices went down, right? Because that's what Karine Jean-Pierre brags about. Oh, inhaler prices have gone down. I think something big's going to happen with this Hunter Biden stuff. And it's not about the current trial. That was all smoke. We covered that yesterday. The media wants to sit there and hide things from you. They want to sit there and keep Trump off the campaign trail. They want to sit there and move the story and narrative about anything and everything they possibly can, other than the fact of Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden doing some foozery. And that's why I think that this tax trial is the big one. The tax trial is going to allow them to sit there and bring out more information, look into more documents, look into more of these financial statements of the Biden apparatus, the Biden family crime apparatus. This is the big one, you guys. The tax one is the one that we want to focus on here. Because if you look in the indictment, if you look in the paperwork, it talks about how Hunter Biden is allegedly a lobbyist. That, well, if he's lobbying, who's he lobbying for? And when, if you recall, when he was on Burisma Holdings as a board member, even though he knew nothing about natural gas, rumor was that he was working with his father, the big guy that got a 10% cut in trying to lobby for his company, Burisma Holdings, in Ukraine. And who was president, you guys? Barack Obama was president. Well, if all this comes to light through discovery, guess who they're going to end up bringing into court? Barack Obama. Who else? Jill Biden. Who else? Joe Biden. This court case could be bonkers, and seeing former presidents coming into the courtroom with a lot of room for discovery could really blow the lid off this. And they don't want that to happen before the election. They don't want this court case to sit there and at least even be remotely part of the mainstream news before the election. Now, here's the problem. What do they do now? This court case is done. We still got months ahead of us. So watch out for anything and everything to happen to keep this under wraps. That could be a terrorist attack. God forbid. God forbid something like that could happen, but there's a good chance something like that will happen. And what do? Well, that's the narrative. Now, the problem with that narrative is that doesn't help Joe Biden whatsoever. Joe Biden's, he's cornered right now. There's nothing that he can do right now that's good. What, is he going to talk about the economy? He's going to talk about foreign policy? He's going to talk about his great handling of the border and how COVID worked out all great? That's what he's going to run on? You guys, that's why she keeps talking, Karine Jean-Pierre, about inhalers. Well, your prices of something have gone down. They don't have anything to run on. The only thing they have to run on, and this is why they pushed it, was Donald Trump's a felon. You want a felon in office? You're fucking right, I do. You're damn right I want the outlaw baby in office. I want Trump 2024 in there to be in office. Mr. 45. I want him in office. You're damn right I do. You're damn right I'm going to vote for him. I said all clear as day. Yeah, he's a felon, but it's bullshit. What, you're going to call him a felon for filing some paperwork incorrectly? Please, get out of here with that crap. Get out of here with that. I don't like that one bit. So we're going to do some quick shooting of the hip here on some news, and then we'll wrap this up. Don't go anywhere, folks. Hit the like and subscribe button. I do have a question for all the listeners and viewers in the chat currently towards the end. I need you guys to stick around at the end because I do have a question. I tried something new today, and I don't know if you're aware of it. And so I want to see if you guys are cool with it because it does help me out. And if you're willing to kind of sit through it, it'd be a really great help and appreciation. So stick around for that. I do have a question just right when we get through these last few things. I want to keep you guys up to date on this. Putin's fleet of warships in Cuba is a direct warning to Biden. We knew that. You guys, they're having ships coming off 25 miles off of Florida. This is how close they're getting. I mean, this is some ballsy stuff, and Joe Biden's allowing it to happen. We shouldn't be surprised. Joe Biden allowed the Chinese to fly a spy balloon off mainland China across over an entire country, our airspace, our military installations, and then shoot it down when it's over the Atlantic. They go, well, they shot it down over the Atlantic because they didn't want it to hit anything when it was over our mainland, even though majority of our mainland is nothing. There's nothing out there. Now, what they told us, again, endless lies from this administration party was, well, we only caught it when it was over our airspace, over our mainland. No, they didn't. We found out later on that they actually watched it lift off mainland China and fly over. So a fleet of Russian warships entered Cuban waters on Wednesday. This isn't getting good, you guys. This is not good. The deployment is likely a warning to President Biden after he gave approval for Ukrainian forces to strike some targets within Russia using U.S. weaponry. Like, where did you think this would go, Joe? Did you think this was a good idea? No. Putin wants to be close to the U.S. homeland at this time when the Russia-Ukraine crisis is on a highly escalatory trajectory. Given Biden's authorization to Ukraine, if something goes wrong and Ukraine strikes critical targets in Russia close to major cities, the Russian military can enable the Cubans to strike targets where? Inside the U.S. Democrats, it doesn't matter who you are. You're an American. Democrats, you libs, you're Americans. Patriots in our chat, the Bald Red Army is trying to get that through your thick skull. There's people that don't like you, and they can't wrap it around. They can't fathom there's people in this world that don't like them. That's why you have these nutsos, the Democrat Party, that are on these college campuses, this LGBTQ for Hamas. They're idiots. Speaking of idiots, keeping it together. We're keeping it together. House committee subpoenas 15 Biden cabinet secretaries to hand over documents on voter mobilization scheme. You guys, I told you the foozery and the effery was going to happen. It's been happening. In recap, we know that they're going to harvest ballots. There's videotape of it. Hell, there's videotape of the last election of it happening. We know there's going to be universal mail-in balloting. We know there's going to be voter fraud because the government didn't want to do anything about it even after the 2 elections. We know that dead people voted. We know that people are voting for properties that don't exist. Like, literally, you just go out into the desert, and that's where they're supposedly and allegedly they voted from, because at one point in time, there was properties there. People came out and said they voted on behalf of somebody else for that other person that they weren't originally going to vote for. So say if somebody says, hey, you know what, fill this out for me, I'm going to go vote for Joe Biden. Well, they voted for Donald Trump or vice versa. We know that Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania aren't willing to clean up their voter registration rolls, and the GOP is suing them. We know that they're trying to change their laws in the books to allow people to vote in the span of a week when it's called Election Day. So all this is going on. Everything you saw in 2016, 2020 is going to happen again. So this is a big deal because the House committee is subpoenaing these 15 executive agencies. And so in March, the Biden administration, if you recall, This didn't get mainstream news. There is a point I want to make here, you guys. I'm going to break this down for you because this is huge. Signed promoting access to voting, which states that the executive departments and agencies should partner. The executive branch is going to partner with state, local, and tribal and territorial election officials to protect and promote the exercise of the right to vote, eliminate discrimination and other barriers to voting. They did universal mail-in balloting. They sat there and harvested. They're going to do this again, and the Biden administration is utilizing the executive branch to get people to vote for his party. To vote for his party. And nobody's talking about it. I watch everybody's show. The one person I think I heard talk about was Dan Bongino, and goddamn, we love you, Dan, if you watch this show. He doesn't, but you know what I mean. So I want to label some 6 points of why this is some serious concern. The first one is the partisanship concerns. So you could have a great argument here that this would favor specifically the Democrat Party. And he's going to use the apparatus of the government to do it on a federal level to work with state and local officials to get it done. Overreach of executive authority. There are concerns that the executive branch may be overstepping its bounds. Yeah, bigly. Why? Because it's infringing upon state rights and responsibilities to manage and conduct the elections. This is wild. Just yesterday, we talked about how the Biden administration, God, who's that we're talking about right now, wanting to sit there and allow people in these rural areas to get online to vote. Misuse of federal resources. So opponents here, like us, claim that using federal resources for voter registration and mobilization efforts could divert funds from other essential functions of federal agencies. Correct. Not to mention this is undermining election integrity like through the roof. There's like a lot of vulnerabilities. There's inconsistencies here. Lack of transparency and accountability is maybe one of them. Legal and constitutional challenges, that one's big here, because the executive order may force not just legal challenges, but these legal challenges regarding the alignment of existing laws, such as the National Voter Registration Act. I did a little research there of 1993. Questions about its legality could result in protracted legal battles, creating uncertainty and potentially disrupting election preparation. So bleep is hitting the fan. They're trying to sit there and do some foozery. We'll keep you up to date, you guys. This stuff is crazy. This stuff is freaking crazy. And I feel like a lot of the stuff people aren't really talking about. You guys let me know. Are you hearing this on other people's outlets? Are you guys getting this news other places where they're calling out this stuff about Hunter Biden being a unregistered lobbyist? Lobbying for who? Are you guys getting the receipts from other? I mean, I'm talking about like other places than like Fox News and maybe like Dan Bongino and other outlets, maybe the Daily Wire, but I'm not seeing it. I watch a lot of people's stuff. I'm not really seeing it. So here's the thing I wanted to ask all of you, and I want to see if you noticed, because it actually is coming up again. Have you guys noticed there's been ads running more frequently on the live stream? And I wanted to be upfront that I'm the one that enabled that, but I want to see if you guys are cool with it. With these ads, it allows us to generate more revenue. And with that revenue, I could put it back into the show. And so if you guys are cool with keeping the ads of where they're at right now, I don't have control of when they pop up, but I have control of like, oh, you can allow like a moderate amount of ads, or you can do a lot of ads. Are you guys okay with sticking around and watching the ads? I can't see them from my end, but I want to know from Pat, Miriam, Michelle, Neil, if you're in here, Jeff, you're in here, Willie, everybody that's in the live chat. We got some people watching. Even if you're not in the live chat right now and you're catching the stream later, let me know in the comment section. If you guys aren't cool with that, I want to know. You sit here and you watch it, and if you're willing to support us by listening through it, thank you. Okay, Jeff B says 100% anything to help your chat. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. You guys sit here and listen to my knucklehead ramble for a while. I've noticed, not cool. However, if it needs your okay, so Miriam's not okay. It's irritating, but if you're okay, no, that's good to know. Then we'll revert it back. If there's more people that want to revert it back to how it was before, we'll do that. That's totally fine with me. I got no qualms. I want, we try things new, but you need feedback, right? You always got to try. You got to try. You always want to try new things here on the show, and sometimes they don't work, right? We tried doing a teleprompter one time. You guys like, I hate it. I just want to hear your riff. I want your rants. I want real-time reactions. That was cool. So we done away with the teleprompter, and no, you need the money. Michelle's like, you look starved. You need the money. No. Look, hey, the making the money that we do here on the show, it's not a lot, right? But that's just icing on the cake. The whole purpose of me doing this is, one, it's a fun freaking hobby. I get to meet and hang out with cool people. And that's the real purpose of it. Now, people are like, well, why don't you just do it for free then, Brad? I mean, kind of we are, but, you know, I appreciate that, you guys. Okay, so I'll look through these again. I'll read your comments down below. I love you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Love hanging out with you. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be able to just hang out and create a community like this because of you guys supporting the show. We'll keep you updated on everything. Remember, Fridays are always a shortened show, so it's probably going to be like 20 to 30 minutes. We always keep it light on Fridays. And then we got some news coming Saturday. Look out for Saturday's episode. I'm trying to work with Fox News right now to get a story out that is, I don't want to say it's heartbreaking, but it's ridiculous. YouTube is trying to censor patriots. So that episode's probably going to come out Saturday. And I need your guys' support here. And we'll get that story out to you. I'm trying to work with a few people right now to get this out to a bunch of people. So with that being said, folks, always appreciate you in the live chat. I see you. Love you. Leave us a comment down below if you can. Hit that like and subscribe button. Share this with your friends, family, all over social media. And folks, we'll see you tomorrow here on The Bull Brad Show.